What kind of man was Boaz before he got married? Ruthless. Hey, Grace Chapel. We are going to focus today on the gift of funny. I will have to say, as long as I've always known Andy, Andy has had a gift of making people laugh. In our marriage, his laughter or his joy has always come in at the right time. And I was thinking of we had a moment. I don't really even remember the hard moment that we were going through at the time, but I just remember laying in bed with him thinking, I'm so thankful to have him in my life, that God has given me this gift of a man who can make me laugh in any kind of moment. And so I thought, laughter and joy, the Bible talks about how it's medicine to our souls, and God gave me Andy as a gift. And not just Andy, but the gift of funny. That funny can relieve heaviness. And so I told him, I said, we need to come up with a message and talk about how joy and laughter and funny is a gifting from God.
And that's exactly why we're talking about it today. But I planned a warm-up game for us.
Okay.
So, as you can see, I've handed you both cards. This is called You Laugh, You Lose.
So we can't laugh.
You're trying not to laugh.
Okay.
And if you make the other person laugh, you win.
Well, that's not right, because I'm not funny.
Well, I have written down dad jokes for you guys on these cards. And so you will go one by one, reading the jokes to each other, and the first person to laugh, the other person will win. All right, let's start with Andy, and you can deliver these however you want. You guys want to take a deep breath? Get ready.
You may go now? Okay. I do want a couple things I do want to talk about when we're doing this is like addictions, because I used to be addicted to like the hokey pokey, but thankfully I turned myself around.
I didn't know where that was going. Why did the math book look so sad? They made it about math because it had too many problems.
What's a missionary's favorite car?
What?
A convertible. Convertible.
Who was the smartest man in the Bible? Abraham. He knew a lot. He knew a lot.
Wow. Why did Adam and Eve do math every day?
Well, that's a good one. They were smart.
They were told to be fruitful and multiply.
See, God loves math. Why did the tomato blush? This is a good one. He saw the salad dressing.
Why did the coffee file a police report?
I don't know.
It got mugged.
Stupid. Why didn't Noah go fishing? He only had 2 worms.
I'm pretty sure she laughed a while ago.
For the remainder of reading your jokes, you can't show your teeth.
Oh gosh,
That's easy.
She's gonna pull out a moose master.
Hold on. That's easy for me.
That's unfair.
Why can't you trust the stairs?
A who?
Stairs.
Why?
They're always up to something.
Yep. Yep. What kind of man was Boaz before he got married? Ruthless. I failed.
You made yourself laugh.
Okay, I did. It was funny.
I don't have any more. I did have a guy try to sell me a coffin the other day. I was like, dude, that's the last thing I'll need.
Wow.
I feel like I won.
Yeah.
I think Andy did win.
That's easy for me.
Some of our jokes were written with Bible puns. What is a Bible story that you find unintentionally hilarious?
Go ahead.
I think of the story where the man's arm grows back in front of Jesus, and I just think about how maybe the rest of them might have reacted when all that happened, the surrounding people. I mean, can you imagine just seeing the miracles in general, how the common people looked at that, like, And if you also think about it, I was reading somewhere about how other books, not the book of the Bible, but other books portrayed that, and they called it sorcery. So it was a wonder and an amazement. And so I can imagine how people reacted to that. And I've often thought that was kind of funny.
I don't know that this is funny. It's funny to me, so I'm going to say it. It's probably not funny to anybody else, but I was reading in the New Testament last week, and I was reading about the sacrifice, the different sacrifices, and one of them you had to take like 2 turtle doves, or 2 doves, or 2 pigeons, and you would take the bowl of water, and you would cut the head off of one, and let the blood sprinkle into the bowl, and then you would take the other live pigeon and dip him in that water, and take the live bird and throw the water on the tabernacle. So I'm thinking, what is going through that live bird's mind? Like, what are we doing? Like, can you imagine being the bird getting dunked in the water, and you just seen your buddy get his head cut off, and now you're just being flung up against the... I don't know, it's just weird. That's how my mind works when I'm reading the Bible. So there you go.
Thinking through the animal's perspective is so
Yes,
fun.
I'm thinking like, what is the bird like? What are we doing?
Here's the next question. What's the funniest church moment or ministry moment in general that you can think of?
I think one that I always remember is when we were actually at Grace Chapel in the old sanctuary. There was a elderly couple. I won't say any names, but we were singing Happy Birthday to the wife. Well, the elderly man obviously didn't realize it was his wife's birthday, and so we're singing, everybody in the church singing Happy Birthday, and he's sitting right in front of me and Star, and he leans over to his wife and says, "I wonder whose birthday it is." And then she looks at him and she says, "It's mine." And so it was pretty funny moment for me. I don't think it was funny for him, but
You got one, Star?
Well, I think of every time we play games with the teens, or anytime we get to laugh. And Moose Masters is it'll always have you laughing. So it's always funny. But I also think about when Pastor Paul creates some of his slides. Do you guys remember when he put "come promise" up there? Or when he was reading and he said "come promise" instead of "compromise"? That's funny.
It says frustrated weird. I'm trying to remember how he said
frustrated.
Frustrated.
Yes. He said, "I'm so flustered."
He says frustrated and flustered together.
But I hope he doesn't think that I'm throwing him under the bus. I appreciate Pastor Paul's slides.
Looks like we have a guest star for the podcast. Come on in.
You got a joke?
What's the scariest thing you think I've ever seen, Mom?
I don't know.
Ah!
Oh, gosh.
Okay.
That's a good one. Bye, guys.
Bye, Chase. With your bluey
No.
backpack.
You got to get in front of the camera.
It lights up.
Mm-hmm.
Did you not just see it?
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is...
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're wondering why we had 4 kids, that's why. We didn't want to have 5.
Whoa.
Be careful. Love you.
He's running away.
Love y'all.
Love you.
All right. Okay. Let's shift gears a little bit to a more serious question. Why do you think that Christians sometimes struggle with humor or taking life too seriously?
I think a lot of times we look at God the wrong way, like he's just up there judging every little thing we do, and so we're always afraid to mess up, we're always afraid to do this and that, and we forget to look at him as a loving father and a caring father, and we look at him more as a dictator. So I think that is a part of it, and then I think for a lot of people it's just the stress of the world and just life, and we get so burdened down with everything, with the rat race, as people call it, and just so much going on that we forget to just stop and enjoy life and enjoy God's creation. And he created laughter and joy. And I think a lot of times for me is learning there's a big difference between happiness and joy, and the joy is from the Lord. And then, I tell people all the time, joking but not joking, like if I go home and she makes meatloaf, I'm going to be happy, but in 2 days I'm not going to be happy because it's going to be gone. But the joy of the Lord is, always there. So I think that's one thing I think.
I also think that sometimes people don't understand you can have joy in your life and still be grieving. Like you can have two different emotions going on. So it's okay to laugh and have joy in your life even though you're going through a hard time. I don't think people understand that you can have both. But relying on the Lord to provide that joy and finding the joy, being thankful and grateful will help you to find the joy in your life and the funny. So
Thank you guys for sharing that. This is not necessarily about the gift of funny. I think it's just like I admire you guys so much in your heart for family and what you've taught me about family that I wanted to ask you guys this question. How would you want your kids or your grandkids to describe your faith?
unshakable. Like, I want them to know that they can look to God, and I would hope that because they could see the faith in me, but I hope it's because they've also created their own faith. So I hope that they could describe my faith as unshakable, but again, my prayer is that they create their own unshakable faith.
Yeah, I would say for me, not perfect, but genuine and steadfast is how I would want them to see it, that it's okay not to be perfect. We need to strive to be perfect, but it's okay not to be, and God still loves us, and just to be steadfast and genuine.
I would say those things are true for you guys and your faith. If you feel comfortable, can you guys share or think of a time that humor did help you through something that was hard or a heavy season of life?
I think for me in the start, kind of touched on it earlier about you can grieve and still be happy, or however you said it exactly. But for me, one of my ways of grieving is laughter and joy, because I hate to cry. I do it more now that I've gotten older, but I hate to cry. I try to be the tough guy like I was raised and all this and that. But I think laughter and laughter and joking around a lot of times for me is the way I grieve. And so that's one of the things for me. But then there's times it's also exhausting, because there's times in my life that, like, everybody thinks of me as the funny guy who's always happy and always joking and kidding around, and that's who I want to be and I try to be. But there's days that you have to put that mask on, whether it's at church or home or whatever, and I don't want to be that guy. And then if you're just tired or you're just exhausted or whatever it may be, and if I'm not just that guy all the time, then it's, it's something wrong. It's something wrong with you. And so a lot of times, I like being known as somebody that's happy or joyful or whatever all the time, but it can be exhausting sometimes, for me personally. But it's the way that I think I grieve, and it helps me get through things. It's trying to make things, I don't know, get my mind off of it by just laughing and being funny, having fun.
Laughter breaks tension.
Yeah.
You feel the tension in the room, and somebody can do something and everybody catches a breath, and it just kind of helps release stuff. So, God made different emotions for a reason. And I believe that he made the gift of funny and joy for the fact that it helps to break the tension and it helps to break the stress in the room. And yeah, I can think back even to this week. Many moments when we've been dealing with Carter and Ken and the blessing of a new baby in our family. We went through some stressful moments this past week, but God has been able to provide those breaks of tension with some joy, some laughter and some jokes. And even Carter said to me, he said, "Man, Dad needs to come up here." He said Ken could use the laugh. So I just think about, like, we all recognize the need for the break of tension.
Who in your life carries the gift of funny?
Yeah, Andy, you answer that because you are my funny.
I just feel like I have to carry the load for everybody.
Stop.
I'm the funniest person I know.
You are.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. Chase really does a good job of that.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's very annoying, but
sometimes it's also unintentional.
Yes, it's unintentional.
I tell him he's a little blind, but
but he is good at doing that and being funny. And there's a lot of people that bring. Honestly, over the last 2 or 3 years, however long it's been since we've been back and become connection pastors and all that. Like Dottie, she's one of the funniest people I know.
Yeah, she's hilarious.
And just being around her is hilarious to me. I just like listening to her talk and just, so she's somebody that, especially, the trials that she's faced over the short time of year, but I think that's the difference in happiness and joy, that she can still show that joy in those moments and those times. But I think Dottie is one of those people that I look to, and then Chase, obviously, it's unintentionally makes me laugh a lot of times.
So what is one small way that you are doing now or you're still learning to keep joy in your life?
Okay. I think one thing that honestly that's helped me a lot as far as joy is just trying, as I've gotten older, not to take things so serious. Like, invest in what really matters, look to what really matters, and don't make something bigger than what it really is. Not that I'm always perfect in it. So that's helped me not to stress as much, I think, as I've gotten older. But I think one of the best things that has really helped me to have joy as I've gotten older is my 2 grandbabies.
I was fixing to say grandkids.
Judah and now Weston, they bring me joy, a lot of joy. And people have always said it, but it's hard to explain until they're so much better than kids, Like, if you could have grandkids without kids, life would be great, So, but they're awesome. So they bring me a lot of joy.
I think trying to focus on joy just is really, for me, because we're going through this whole empty nest syndrome kind of thing where our house is emptying out and Chase is our only silly, goofy person left. And trying to find joy in all that is looking, one, to God and trying to get lost in the Word. But I would also say finding some of my passions, things that I'm passionate about and invested in. And honestly, I'm passionate about church. I try to pour myself into church. And I really feel like my job, even at school, as a teacher, I'm passionate about because it gives me purpose. So in that, I find joy.
Yeah, me too. Church. I love church. Like she said, church. Get joy from church.
You guys are not just saying that because the pastor's in the room, right?
No, I just love church and every person in church.
No.
Do you guys have anything you want to say to each other right now? It can be literally anything.
I thank you for being one of my greatest joys. I thank
You're
you
welcome.
for breaking the tension in hard situations. But not just that, I thank you for being a role model that shows other people that it's okay to be happy and live a happy life even when you're going through hard times.
I thought this was supposed to be about being funny.
Now one up me.
I can't, and now I'm going to cry, and it's supposed to be funny. I would say I'm not going to look at you, but my biggest thing is I would say I appreciate the fact that when I gave up on myself that something wrong with this mic, that you didn't give up on me and that you prayed for me and stuff like that. Anyway, that's what I would say. Thank you for doing that. Okay. Wow. We would just like to say this segment of Grace Chapel Podcast is brought to you by Presto.
Presto?
Is that what it says? Presto?
Yeah, that is what it says.
No, it says compromise.
Oh.
By Presto, and I can promise these will work.
All right, let's wrap it up with a bow here. Thank you guys for doing that. If you had a challenge for someone listening to this who is struggling to feel that joy in their life right now, what would you say to that person? Maybe like what Andy was talking about, that just feels tired all the time and is grieving. What would you say to that person?
I would say, personally, and it sounds simple, but it kind of really is simple. And I'm 48, and I think it's taken me most of my 48 years to learn this. But you just got to trust in God, and the only place you're going to find true joy is in Him. there's a difference in happiness and joy, as we talked about earlier. And I don't know how people make it through life without the joy of the Lord, because it is our strength, as the Bible tells us. So when I'm weak, He is strong. And it's easy to say right now, but and at times when you're going through things, you know, it's not the easiest thing to do. But I think as I've gotten older, I've just learned that I just got to trust Him and try to find that joy in that every situation, and surround myself around positive, like-minded people that you know, have those same things. Because when I am weak, He is strong, but also if I have a strong circle when I'm weak, they are strong. Or when I was weak, she was strong. And so I think that's the biggest thing I would say.
I would say that also the Bible says that the joy comes in the morning, and sometimes we think our trials last forever, but God is faithful and just to bring a new day. And so finding gratitude in each new day, picking out the things that you're thankful for every day. Like, I am thankful for my family, I am thankful for my husband, I am thankful for my church family, and seeing the good things of each day will help you find your joy.
That would be a good preview for it.
When you laughed just now, I thought you farted. I thought that was a fart.
Please don't.
I did laugh. I laughed to cover it up.
Will one of you volunteer to pray us out?
Let's do a prayer together. I'll say one word, you say one word. Dear
Heavenly
Father. I'm not doing that. I'm just kidding.
I got you.
All right.
Dear Heavenly Father God, I just thank you so much for the joy that you've given me in my life and Andy in his life and our church family, God. I thank you for the joy. I thank you for the funny. I thank you that you give us reasons to get up every morning, and blessings upon blessings upon blessings. And I just pray that our church would learn and grow in different aspects of how to put that joy and funny in place and look for you in the small moments. So in Jesus' holy name, I pray. Amen.
Thanks for listening to or watching this episode of Grace Podcast. If you want to catch what's coming next, make sure to follow us on social media so you never miss a new episode. Grace Podcast exists to create faith-building conversations that equip, encourage, and engage our church family all week long, not just on Sunday mornings. We're glad you're here. We'll see you in the next episode.